¿Sabías que al quedar desempleado puedes recurrir al mecanismo de protección al cesante a través de tu caja de compensación familiar? Con Familiar Risaralda siempre está presente para apoyarte en lo que más necesitas. En los periodos de desempleo te brindamos diferentes beneficios con los cuales puedes mantener y mejorar tu calidad de vida y la de tu familia. Como Caja de Compensación Familiar, somos administradores del mecanismo de protección al cesante, lo cual garantiza la protección social de los trabajadores en periodo de desempleo, amparados en la Ley 1636 de 2013, con la cual puedes ampliar aún más toda esta información. Este mecanismo de protección al cesante tiene 4 componentes: agencia de empleo, capacitación, subsidio al desempleo y ahorro voluntario de cesantías. La Agencia de Gestión y Colocación de Empleo Incluyente de Confamiliar Risaralda está vinculada a la Red de Servicios de Empleo www.serviciodeempleo.gov.co, con la cual facilitamos a buscadores de empleo, cesantes y población vulnerable la vinculación laboral y a las empresas la publicación de sus vacantes, dando cumplimiento a la Resolución 2605 de 2014 y apoyándola en la búsqueda del mejor talento humano. Para acceder y conocer los programas que te ofrece nuestra agencia de empleo, puedes hacerlo de 3 maneras. Primero, ingresa a www.confamiliar.com, menú Agencia de Empleo. Aquí puedes registrarte y consultar los servicios diseñados tanto para postulantes como para empleadores. Segundo, acércate a los centros de atención ubicados en Pereira, calle 22, número 427, Dos Quebradas, avenida Simón Bolívar, calle 35, número 1641, Santa Rosa, carrera 14, número 1757, piso 2, y La Virginia, carrera octava, número 621, piso 2. Comunicarte con nuestra línea telefónica 313-5600, extensiones 2202 y 2487. O al correo electrónico agenciadeempleo@confamiliar.com. A través de la Agencia de Empleo puedes participar del programa de capacitación para la reinserción laboral, compuesto de talleres de motivación laboral y empleabilidad, además de la formación de diferentes áreas, de modo que puedas adquirir competencias que mejoren tus posibilidades de vinculación laboral. Otro de los componentes del mecanismo de protección al cesante es el subsidio al desempleo, que consiste en el pago de los aportes para salud y pensión y pago de cuota monetaria de subsidio familiar durante 6 meses. Para esto, debes haber estado afiliado a la Caja de Compensación por un año continuo o discontinuo durante los últimos 3 años. Para acogerte a este beneficio, debes descargar el formulario de postulación al mecanismo de protección al cesante, que encuentras en nuestro portal web www.confamiliar.com, en el menú Agencia de Empleo, FOSFEC. Lo imprimes y lo diligencias completamente siguiendo el instructivo que puedes encontrar también en nuestro sitio web. Al diligenciarlo, lo llevas con los documentos anexos a nuestros puntos de atención en Pereira, Dos Quebradas, Santa Rosa y La Virginia. Confamiliar Risaralda hará la verificación de la condición del trabajador y de la información aportada. El último componente del mecanismo de protección al cesante es el ahorro voluntario de cesantías. A través de este servicio podrás decidir voluntariamente el porcentaje de cesantías que se destinan para cubrir la falta de ingresos en caso de quedar desempleado. Los trabajadores dependientes o independientes que realicen este ahorro voluntariamente recibirán un beneficio monetario proporcional a su ahorro en el momento que quede desempleado. Dicho incentivo está definido en la reglamentación dada por el Gobierno Nacional. En caso de que el trabajador quiera usar sus cesantías para educación, compra, construcción o mejoramiento de vivienda, podrá usar sus cesantías sin ningún problema. En Confamiliar Risaralda nos preocupamos por ti y por eso invertimos para mejorar tus competencias y acompañarte en el proceso de inclusión laboral.
Zap English, listening.
Level 2, Unit 1, Jobs and Work.
Este podcast de Listening con Inglés Real se acompaña de un ebook que puedes descargar en inglés.fm.
In this unit, you're going to practice your listening skills around the topic of jobs unemployment. Let's start. Listening task 1. You're going to hear people answering 2 questions. Listen and guess what the questions are.
Hi, I'm a teacher at university in Chiang Mai, Thailand. I teach business, so subjects like marketing and finance, business law, and I also teach a course on the environment, so environmental problems in Thailand and how we can solve them. I love the students actually, so I just love the fact that I get to teach them something that they maybe didn't know before. I especially like the challenge of getting information over and sometimes seeing the spark of recognition, a smile on the student's face when they understand something that you've been explaining. And I also like just the fact that you get to stand in front of a class and convey information, challenge the way people think. So all around, I think it is actually the greatest job I've ever had.
So I organize production for fair trade products, which might be bags or clothing or jewelry or soap. And sometimes it's a company that is already organized for production, and sometimes I have to go and buy all the supplies and give them to a tailor, tell them what to make, and check on them to make sure that they're making it right. And like that. I like how creative I can be and how varied it is, because I get to work with lots of different people, and I also get to design sometimes, which is fun, and I get to go to different places, so I'm not always working at home. I get to get out. I like that too.
Listening task 1. Answers. The first question was, what's your job? And the second question was, what do you like about your job? Listening task 2. Now you'll hear the same people answering one more question. The question is, what's difficult about your job? Which group of people does Greg talk about? He's the first speaker. Which group of people does Mike talk about? He's the second speaker.
What's difficult about my job is partly working with different time zones overseas. So I sometimes I have to work on the weekend, which is okay, but then I don't have the answers that I need or want on a Monday morning. Also it requires putting a lot of time and money into new samples, because customers always want to see something new, and they often want to see something new before we've sold any of the old samples that we've made. So that can be quite frustrating and time consuming. And then finding new customers sometimes is a challenge, because most of our time is spent producing stuff rather than selling stuff. So that's the biggest challenge, I think.
What's difficult about teaching, I guess, is motivating students. So if you're teaching a subject that maybe they're not too interested in at the beginning, how do you get them to participate in class? How do you get them to do readings that they need to do on background? How do you actually get them interested in the subject that you're teaching? Because if you have a classroom full of bored students, they don't really learn. So I think that's the most difficult thing.
Listening task 2. Answers. Greg talks about difficulties with customers. Mike talks about difficulties with students. Listening task 3. Now you'll hear Greg telling us about a typical day in his job. Does he spend the whole day in one place?
Okay, a typical day for me would be to spend a couple of hours in the office checking emails, doing a little bit of work on designs, and then checking in on producers. So that might just be phone calls or visiting them at their shop, at the market, or at their home, and also then buying supplies to deliver to producers. And also when I visit the producers, I have to spend time with them, because the big part of my job is the relationship with them, and they often expect me to stay longer than I would normally need to stay. I think I need to stay. So yeah, that takes time too.
Listening task 3. Answers. Does Greg spend the whole day in one place? No, he doesn't. Some of the day he's at home, and some of the day he's out at markets and shops. Listening task 4. Before we listen to part 4, there's a word you need to know to understand the conversation. Do you know what we call it when two things are not together? They are apart. They don't touch each other. They are not joined or connected. They are separate. This word can also be a verb, to separate, and the noun is separation. So remember that meaning for the conversation. Separate. Now, what do you think the good and bad things about working for yourself could be? What's good and what's bad about working from home? In the last part of this unit, you'll hear Tom and I talking about these things. What advantages and disadvantages do we discuss? Are they the same as your ideas?
Hello, this is Katie, and I'm talking to Tom.
Hello.
And we are in Tom's lounge, and we're talking about work.
Yes. Are we working?
I suppose we are working. We're working and talking about work. And what I wanted to ask you about was how you feel about working from home.
Okay, yes, I can say a few things about that, because I've spent many years mainly working from home in Thailand and in Spain and in England on and off as well.
So that's different between us, because I've only been working from home for the last year or so. Before that I went to work, whereas long time you've been working at home.
Yeah, so I think for me the disadvantages are becoming more obvious and more apparent over time than, the initial advantages are, you create your own work time, you set your own hours, you get up when you want, you don't have to waste time travelling. But when you've done it for a long time, for example, I'm starting to feel quite lonely.
Because you're at home all day on your own?
Yeah, and I don't mix with people, I don't talk to other people during the day much.